Aconitum napellus when there is a sudden onset of symptoms after exposure to cold, especially after being in cold wind or drafts. Restlessness, fever, dry cough, and hoarseness. Often helpful in the early stages of respiratory infections. When the illness begins suddenly and intensely, with high fever and dry, irritating cough. Arsenicum album when there is restlessness, exhaustion, and weakness during the infection. Often used when the patient experiences burning pains in the chest, along with anxiety and thirst. Symptoms may be aggravated at night, and the patient may feel worse in cold weather. If the person feels anxious, weak, and restless, and experiences burning in the chest or throat. Antimonium tartaricum, when there is cough with excessive mucus in the chest, rattling sound in the chest, difficulty coughing up mucus, and breathlessness. The patient feels drowsy and weak. Belladonna when there is fever with hot, flushed face, dilated pupils, and sensitivity to light. Sudden onset of symptoms with intense inflammation and a dry, tickling cough. Throat pain, especially when swallowing, and inflamed tonsils. If the infection leads to high fever and a sudden onset of intense symptoms, often with throbbing pain. Bryonia alba dry cough with pain in the chest, aggravated by movement and deep breathing, often associated with a heavy, dry feeling in the chest, thirsty for large quantities of water, and worsened by coughing or exertion. If the cough is dry, painful, and worsens with any movement, and the patient feels weak and thirsty. Eupatorium perfoliatum. When there is severe body aches and high fever, aching bones, cough, and a feeling that the bones are breaking, intense thirst, despite chills. Ferrum phosphoricum, early stages of inflammation with mild fever, fatigue, and a dry cough. Often used as a general remedy for the initial stages of viral infections, especially when there's mild fever and weakness. When the symptoms are just beginning, with fatigue, mild fever, and a general feeling of being unwell. Gelsemium sempervirens, when there is flu-like symptoms with fatigue and heaviness, weakness, drowsiness, headache, mild fever, and chills. Patient feels dull and lethargic, with no desire to move. Kali bichromicum, when there is thick, stringy mucus that is difficult to expectorate, nasal congestion with postnasal drip, headache, and a feeling of fullness in the head. Pain in the sinuses, and difficulty breathing due to blocked airways. If there is thick mucus that is difficult to expel, especially if it's associated with sinus congestion and headaches. Hepar sulfurous calcareum, when there is sore throat, cough, and symptoms that worsen in cold, damp weather. The cough is often wet but painful, with a feeling of constriction in the chest. The patient may also experience a general feeling of sensitivity to touch and cold, for a cough that is painful, especially in the chest, and when the patient is sensitive to cold. Phosphorus when there is dry, burning cough with a feeling of dryness in the throat and chest. Weakness and fatigue after coughing, along with a sensation of tightness in the chest. Desire for cold drinks and worsening of symptoms at night. If the patient feels weak, thirsty, and has a dry, burning cough with difficulty breathing. Pulsatilla nigricans, when there is nasal congestion with yellow or green mucus, dry cough in the evening, loose cough in the morning, and a need for fresh air. Symptoms are better in open air and worse in a warm room. It is always advisable to consult the physician for dosage and potency according to one's severity.
Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to get more information related to health.